According to National Electrical Code Section 430.104a, motors of over 1/8 horsepower must have an indicating type disconnect in addition to overload protection. National Electrical Code Section 422.35 states that switches for the control of non-motor loads should be general use switches. National Electrical Code Section 422.36 states that switches for the control of motor loads should be motor circuit switches. Now let's talk about an interpretation of these sections. The National Electrical Code doesn't specifically address whether an indicating type switch is needed for a motor-operated appliance, such as an attic exhaust fan, that is controlled from more than one location. However, the general rule of 430.104 suggests that an indicating type disconnect is always needed for motors over 1/8 horsepower. This would seem to indicate that any switch used to control a motor-operated appliance should also be an indicating type switch. Based on 430.104a, many experts believe that any switch used to control a motor-operated appliance, even if it is controlled from multiple locations, must be an indicating type switch. Here's the reasoning behind that. The purpose of an indicating type disconnect is to provide a clear indication that the motor is disconnected from the power source. This is important for safety reasons, as it prevents someone from accidentally starting the motor while someone else is working on it. If you were to use a 3-way or 4-way switch to control a motor-operated appliance, it would not provide an indicating type disconnect because the switch wouldn't indicate whether or not the motor is connected to the power source. Therefore, the best practice is to use indicating type switches for all switches that control motor-operated appliances, even if the appliance is controlled from multiple locations. In summary, firstly, all motors over 1/8 horsepower must have an indicating type disconnect in addition to overload protection, per National Electrical Code Section 430.104a. Secondly, the National Electrical Code does not explicitly address the use of indicating type switches when a motor-operated appliance is controlled from multiple locations. Thirdly, many experts believe that any switch used to control a motor-operated appliance should be an indicating type switch, even when controlled from multiple locations. Fourthly, indicating type disconnects clearly show whether the motor is disconnected from the power source for safety. Fifthly, 3-way and 4-way switches don't provide this indication. Sixthly, best practice is to use indicating type switches for all motor-operated appliances regardless of control locations.